Good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. um, I am filming this on December 8th, but I actually worked on the New Year reset around Thanksgiving. I wanted to get a head start and I wanted to figure out what tools I wanted to use and how I wanted to go about resetting the year. Usually I use Notion, but since I have the job that I have and the lifestyle, I guess you could say, that I have right now, I'm not going on to Notion and using that like I really want to in my mind. So I decided to regroup and rethink about how I wanted to reset my new year. And so I'm doing it a little bit differently this year. I'm using an app on my iPad as well as xTiles. So I'm going to show you first what I'm doing on the iPad, and then I'm going to go into what I'm doing on xTiles. Um, I feel like with Notion and anything online, really, I guess including xTiles, I'm just not set up to get on. I'm just not set up to get on the laptop or a computer and check my Notion account like I want to. Um, in my mind, I had planned to get up like 2 hours roughly before I have to go into work. And then get up, I get dressed, I do what I have to do to get ready for the day. I check my Notion, but that's just not how my life is going. It hasn't been for the last probably at least year, maybe two, maybe longer. Um, so I have been kind of wanting to go back to maybe writing the New Year goals and do some writing resets. So instead of doing it on paper, because I don't really want to buy something on paper and then end up not using it. So I decided to use my iPad that I recently got, and I really love this so far. Um, I am currently using Noteful on the iPad. So far, I'm loving it. I'm keeping notes, like handwritten notes, because you can, write on the iPad. Um, so I am really loving this. I'm going to record the iPad session. I don't know what to call it. But I'm going to record it so you can kind of see what I have planned. I'm not going to show you what I actually did for my reset, but I do want to show you a replica of what I did so that way you can do it too if you want to. Okay, let me go ahead and record the screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so actually before I do that, I wanted to go over what I'm going to include / mention for the iPad yearly reset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you three different drawings that I did for my reset. And then I'm going to go over the goals journaling session, and then the skills list, and then, like I said, the xTiles setup. So, okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you the first step in my New Year yearly reset. Yeah, sorry, got a little confused for a second. So I'm currently recording my iPad screen, and that's why I'm looking down. So what I decided to do, I did do a vision board like you normally do on the laptop, and I used Canva. However, I started out with a drawing vision board. I'm actually calling this an incentive board because I guess I'm just kind of tired of the word vision board or the phrase. I mean, I still, like I said, created a, quote, vision board on Canva, and you could consider this a vision board, I guess. But I just wanted to reterm it because I felt like that would change up my thinking, and it would also activate something in my brain. I don't know. I didn't major in psychology, so I'm not sure what that would be, but I'm changing the terminology so that way I can hopefully, I guess, stay motivated and incentivized to follow some of these goals. Because if I do feel overwhelmed, then I tend to want to procrastinate sometimes. So the first thing we're going to do is, or the first thing I did for my personal yearly reset, is I drew current me. So for this, and if you are saying, hey, I actually can't draw, you could either skip this, or you could just draw stick people, or, you don't have to be like an artiste. You can, keep it simple if you want. But basically, you can somewhere on here type or write current me, and then you can put the year. That's optional. I parenthesed it because it's optional. And then I bordered it in, but you don't have to. You could just write it in an object if you prefer. It's drawing, so you can kind of do whatever you want to do. What did Bob Ross say? It's your world, something like that. Anyway, so that's what I did. And then you can just, draw however you want to draw and whatever you want to draw. So let's say currently, and I would focus on some of the goals that you have in mind. So let's say you want to be a nurse, but you're really working at a pet store. I don't know. So then you could draw. I'm really not trying to make this good. So if it doesn't turn out very well, that's why, as far as drawing, because I'm trying to hurry up. But you can basically draw yourself, and I'm drawing a girl since I'm a female. And if you are currently, pet sitting, maybe that's your current job. That's what we do. It's better, yes. Okay. You can draw yourself. And I'm leaving out the hands because I want to do this a little bit quicker. I don't want to harp on the details too much. And then you can just draw like a little dog or a cat. And I'm not the best with animals right now. I need to probably practice a little bit, but yeah. There you go. That's not the best drawing, but like I said, I'm not really trying to draw that well at the moment. So then you can draw yourself as you are with the job that you currently have. And then maybe you're renting a place. So you could draw like an apartment complex in the background. You know. This is, again, not very good. But hopefully this shows you that you don't have to be an expert or perfect to draw. Okay. Okay, so that's not really good, but anyway, that's an apartment building. We can add a roof, I guess, with a little dimension. Okay, so you could also like add a sign if you wanted. Apartment places. I don't know. Okay, so then let's say you're, I don't know. We could give this a leash, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's a dog. Maybe it's a cat. I don't really know what it is, to be honest. Okay, so you can just add a cloud if you want, or, you can add like a dollar bill. I don't know. Indicate that it's really bad. And yeah, you can just add little things depending on where you are currently. What else would be something that you might want to add? Might want to add like a trash can, maybe you feel like you're blowing money away. I don't know. And then if you want to, you can add a note, money goes here. And then you could add, a car. Maybe you're currently in a car, but you want a truck or an SUV or whatever. I don't know. That's, Anyway, yeah, so there's your car. And then you can just add, whatever, wherever you currently are, whatever you want to focus on in this drawing. And then you can kind of get an overview. Maybe you want to add a note like cut hair. Maybe you want your hair cut. I don't know. Maybe your pet sitter. Maybe you want to add that note. I don't know. Maybe you want to add a rent note, renting, and you can write it in the roof. Somber mood in the cloud. About everything. I don't know. Okay, so then you actually just pull down and then hold it for a second and it adds another sheet, which is awesome. And I didn't actually show you how to create the notebook, but it should be kind of self-explanatory. I think you hit a plus button, then you can create a notebook, and you can create the cover color or choose the cover color, and then you can actually add text on the cover or an image or both. And I'll actually pop up on the screen a picture of mine. And then after that, you just put current meet obstacles. So you can put it on this side. And then you figure out where you want to go. So let's say you want to go back to school and you want to get your nursing degree and you want to be a nurse. So you might write, or you might draw a piece of paper. This is your application, resume, whatever you want it to be. And then you can draw yourself again. And let's see. And then you could draw, I don't know, a nurse hat. I don't really know what a nurse hat looks like, or even, I don't think you wear nurse hats. So I don't know. You just get creative with it. Okay. And then, let's see. And then that's the arm and the legs. Okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect drawing. You could put nurse, student. And then you could maybe put another piece of paper on here that says denied, because that is a potential. You could maybe put money. Again. So, yeah. Not enough money. And I don't know, just whatever obstacles you might face. Then you scroll and hold, and then bam, pops up a new one. And then you write future me on the page. You could also use this lasso tool to circle and move if you want. You can move it to the middle this time. And there you go. And then you can draw how you want to look, your lifestyle, whatever the case may be. So draw yourself. Maybe looking a little better. The hairstyle you want. That's not very good. And then maybe with a smile on your face. I don't know if that's really a smile. That's not a smile. That's not a smile. There we go. And then maybe you want to wear dresses. Maybe that's your style, your future style that you want to aspire to. So let's see where. Okay. All right, and then maybe you want it to be a long dress. I don't know. Just draw a dress. You can wear heels. That's what you are picturing. Again, that's really bad, actually. Oh, that's terrible. There we go. It's a little better. Okay, and then you can oh, that's not very good at it. Is it? I'm trying to hurry. So this is not obviously going to be that great. Put a little design on it. Okay, and then, like I said, maybe you want an SUV. So, just a truck. I'm going to draw an SUV. That's what I started drawing. At least I hope it turns out to be an SUV. Okay. Okay. Actually make the wheel a little bigger. Okay. And then maybe you're making lots of cash. And I don't know, just, if health is on there, maybe something health related, like a dumbbell maybe. Or you could try drawing yourself at a fitness gym, or actually, instead of filling that in, it's 10-pound kettlebell. So anyway, future you get the idea. Okay, so now for the goal journaling session. After that, you can kind of get a visual, which is really fun, I thought. And it seemed like it was kind of motivating, in my opinion. That way you can kind of get a visual of where you are now, your obstacles, and then future you, so you can see it more about you and not so much other people. Yeah. Okay, so goal journaling session. Okay, so for the goal journaling session, what I did was I want to be, let's go with the nurse thing. So I want to be a nursing student. I want to get or obtain, whatever word you want to use, a nursing job or nursing position. And then if you want to do like a I don't know, something health related. You could put, I want to work out 3 days a week. And then after that, what I did was, and then for personal, we need personal just to make this full house here. I want to, it's not an O, travel to 5 states. I don't know. Something fun that's in your personal life. Okay, so after that, what I did was I created really 3 pillars, sometimes 4 pillars if you want to separate one from one of the pillars as its own pillar. So my system for this includes personal, school, career, and health as their own pillars. And then each pillar I color coded. So for personal, and this is my personal color coding system, for personal, I chose purple, school is blue, career is orange, and health is green. So based on that, I'm going to highlight all of these goals based on the according color. So I want to be a nursing, I want to get a nursing job. That would be orange, because that's career related. And then personal is I want to travel to 5 states, so I would highlight that purple. Student would be blue, since that's school related, falls under the school pillar. And then workout, that would be green. So we highlight that green since it's under the health pillar. And you can have more than one per pillar. I just wrote all of that as an example. Maybe you have another personal goal. I don't know. Maybe I want to buy, and you can go based on your drawings as well. I want to buy an SUV. So that would be personal, and that would be highlighted as purple. And that way, when you look at it, you can get a sense of if your pillars and tasks / goals are balanced. I don't know what I'm saying. My word for this coming year is balance, because I want to balance career and personal and school, because I feel like I focus a lot on career and school. And I just feel like that is getting a little unhealthy. I need to focus some on personal too, and have fun moments and just enjoy life instead of grinding all the time. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my goal journaling session. That's how I did mine. Okay, and then after that, what you want to do is you want to break down each of your goals. So you can do this on the same piece of paper or a different one depending on how many goals you have. So nursing student would be the first one. And then you can actually highlight that. I will in a second. So action plan, submit applications. And that's going to entail a lot. So you can, if you are sort of an outliner, you can, 1, 2, 3, 4, that. And then, resume, whatever you need for nursing school, I don't know, application, etc., etc. I'm not going to include that. And then the next one, or you can just bullet point each one. So submit applications. I don't know. You could, instead of submit application, you could write each step. So maybe get a reference letter from so-and-so, or just get a reference letter if you don't know who. And then you can just write down all of the things you have to do for the application. You do it that way. And then you put nursing job here. In a hurry, so I'm not really doing this very well. Nursing job, this is orange, and this is blue. So like that. That way you can color code everything and you can go to the appropriate list. And then for nursing job, maybe that's, interning first. I don't know. Submit applications. You can put something more specific, like to 2 hospitals or to wherever. I don't know what else you would do. I'm not in that field. And then for the workout, work 3 days a week, work out 3 days a week. That's pretty self-explanatory, but you can write that down again down here. If you have something you want to add, you can add that. Maybe put, you want to run 1 day and work out 2 days a week, something like that. And then I want to travel to 5 states. So you could put each state that you want to travel to, or you could put how you want to travel to it, or however you want to break that down. And then I want to buy an SUV, so you can write down all the steps. Maybe you want to save $5,000. Search car companies. Maybe you don't know which one you want to buy. I don't know. Research SUVs, whatever you feel your task list entails, write that there. And then I like to color code this, but you don't have to. That's just what I'm doing. So yeah, that's what it would look like. And then after that, scroll down and hold. Now we are on to skills. You don't have to do this. I just do this because I broke it down into skills instead of goals, because it's not really a goal. It's just something I want to keep up, maintain, maintenance, or learn something new, but it's not really a goal. You know what I mean? So for this, I put, you could put, I want to learn. That was weird. Okay, sorry about that. My Apple Pencil was dying. That's what was going on. Well, anyway, my Apple Pencil died, so now it has to charge. There we go. There's an obstacle. I'll just have to pop up on the screen a photo of the finished product whenever it finishes. But basically, I want to learn to draw. I want to learn music. I want to learn XYZ. Or you could put, I want to maintain Spanish, Korean, whatever language you're learning or you did learn. Or maybe you did learn music and you want to maintain your knowledge of music. I want to learn math. I want to learn accounting. It could be all these different things. Whatever you want to learn on your own time. That's what I wrote down as skills. Also, I did write down I want to read more books under skills. So, yeah. And then once you're done with that, you could, for some ideas, not necessarily a brain dump, I already had some ideas in mind. So for drawing. I wanted to practice drawing again / more. So I drew a box and I put under that box practice videos and books. So I want to practice, I want to watch videos, and I want to read drawing books and learn more about drawing that way. And then I'll show you a picture of how I did it if I can manage that. But yes, so that is how I did my initial yearly reset on Noteful on the iPad. And I actually totally forgot. Sorry. I am going to show you one other app that I'm using on my iPad. So for this, and I'll probably just show you a photo because that might be easier, but I'm using the app ajournal, which is very simple now that I think about it. But I'm using that, and it had preset templates within the app. So I'm using those templates. You can choose, so you have a few options, even with the free version. But if you want more options, then you obviously have to pay. But this app breaks everything down so nicely. I'm going to start with the year. They include year, month, week, and day. And the year, I chose the box template. So there's 12 boxes. And then I put the abbreviation for each month within each box at the top, middle. And then underneath that, I wrote all of the main goals I wanted to complete each month. So that way I could get a yearly glance. Now, normally I sorted this out every single month for the entire year, but I'm doing a sort of partial 12-week year thing where I'm only focusing on, I would say 6 months, but really 3 months, because I did have something planned out for May, which is 5 months in. And I thought, well, since I have already done that, I'm going to plan out to June, but the second quarter is going to be kind of iffy because, things happen. So I just really fleshed out the first 3 months in the yearly template planner thing on ajournal. And so I put the main goals for whichever I'll give you an idea. I put 2 career goals for all 3 months. I put 2 school goals for all 3 months. And then I put 1 goal for health for 2 months, like an overall goal that I wanted to achieve, other than working out or eating healthy or something like that, like maybe a doctor appointment, something that I could just divvy out on the yearly calendar, if that makes sense. And then if you have any trips planned, you can put that on the yearly calendar too. I am planning 1 trip. There is another trip I want to take next year. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to take that trip. And also, again, things happen, so I may not be able to. I don't know. But if I did, that would probably be a spontaneous trip. And I do want to be more spontaneous. So that's another goal that I have. That's more abstract. That's, I think, the only abstract goal I have for next year. Okay, so monthly template. I chose, and I'll show you an overview of the template I chose. It's a monthly review. I did have the monthly calendar up, but I like this a little better in some ways. I do wish that I could have both. I think you have to have the premium paid version of the app to do that. You can only have 1 per. But I chose the monthly review for this next year. And then that way I can rate where I am on some of the skills. And by the rating, I might divide a certain number by however many days I completed it that month. I'm still going to work out the math because I feel like ratings are a little too abstract. Like, how would you rate such and such? To me, that just seems a little abstract, and I don't know what to give it. Why would I give it a 5 over a 6 or a 6 over a 7 or whatever, or a 4 over a 7? So I just thought I would include some math in that to make the rating quote a little more accurate. But for the monthly overview, it has an overview box. So it has what I used the box for is I put some main goals I wanted to achieve in each pillar, almost each pillar. And then for the end of the month, I can do what went well, what didn't work, how to improve. And then it has a box for focus for next month. So if I don't get something done that month, then I can write down what I need to focus on for the next month. And then it has just notes. And for that, I maybe have a note that I want to remember for the next month, or maybe 2 months from now, or, maybe like a finance, like how much I spent overall for everything in the month. You can write that in the notes. Yeah, just little things, whatever you want to note on that. And then the weekly template. I love this template so much. It has the goal, task, and note box on the right side, and then it's got each day. And I think it actually has all the holidays in here too, which is nice. And so sometimes I'll put the goals, and that way I can get a weekly overview. So it's kind of like a monthly overview, but on a weekly view, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing for the week. And then I'm going to put, major goals like workout. I'll put the days on here. So like if I want to work out on Monday, I'll put workout at gym or run or whatever it is I want to do. And I can put it on there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that. But for, little tasks on the day template, I chose the one with the little calendar, the schedule on the right side, the dotted area on the bottom, the priorities list on the left, and tasks on the left side. So this is what I use to write down mundane stuff like take out the trash, do the laundry, everyday little things that don't really need to go on a big overview sheet. So that's what I'm using that for. And then also if I did want to, rewrite the goal, I can do that. I'm still working out what I want to do for priorities and tasks because I feel like that's kind of a double up sort of thing. I think for priorities, I'm going to put the overall, you could put the pillar or you could put the overall goal. And then for the tasks, you could put the tasks that you want to achieve within that goal on that day. And then obviously I'm going to color code it based on my color coding system that I showed you earlier. So yes, that is how I'm basically setting up everything on a journal app on the iPad. Okay, and then I fleshed everything out a little more and I used xTiles. So I'm going to share my screen for that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so actually, I'm not going to share my screen. I changed my mind. I am going to show you the overview of what the template on xTiles looks like. And then I'm going to pop up on the screen part of what mine looks like, just the different boxes that I have, and show you that way. So for the left side, it has the word of the year basically. And so in that box, I chose, like I said earlier, balance is going to be my word for 2026. For 2025, my word was resilience. In case you were wondering, I don't know. But for 2026, my word is balance. And in that box, I wrote, I want to balance my life with a healthy focus on a few different aspects of my life rather than solely focusing on career and school, which is what I usually do. I also want to travel, take care of my health, and be around animals in some capacity, such as volunteering. I want to broaden my life experiences. And you obviously can't do that if you're in only 2 pillars of your pillar system. So for I did recolor and color code everything a little bit differently based on my color coding system. So I redesigned the boxes a little bit, and I kept the categories that they had preset in the template. So key areas of focus for the career pillar, for career and growth, I want to be in the education field. I don't want to specify which goal yet. It could change, actually, to be honest, but I do know that I want to get into education in particularly 1 or 2 capacities, but that's going to take a lot of steps. So, yes, that's one career goal that I have. The other career goal is related to yoga, but I am not prioritizing that as of right now, and I don't know if I'm going to prioritize it next year. I'm definitely not prioritizing it in the first 3 months. And then under the career pillar, I also included passion and creativity. For this category, I want to have a beta reader read my second poem book, or really just anyone to read my second poem book, because I want to get some feedback on it. And then I also want to finish a third poem book that I'm working on. And I feel like that should be pretty easy. I feel like a lot of ideas come to me pretty easily when it comes to poems. But we'll see. It's not a main priority. It's just something in the passion and creativity area that I want to complete. And then I want to continue working on my novel. Probably not going to finish that in 2026, and it's not going to be a priority, but it's in there. Okay, so for the personal pillar, key areas of focus, in the financial stability box, I want to determine a solid savings plan, and I want to save X number of dollars per month. I don't know if that will happen or not. I just put it as a goal, and it's kind of a, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen sort of goal. It's not a really hardcore priority goal. I might add something else to this. I might take away something. That was just what I had in mind as far as ideas under that goal. And then personal development. I want to read 4 books this year. 3 of them are already preset. I already started reading 2 of them. And I really want to finish those 2. I may start another one. I don't know. Depends. And then I do want to read a finance book on savings, or a finance book in general, but we'll see if that happens. Again, those personal development books, that is up in the air. It's not really solid, And then under the connection, they have connection as one of the goal themes, I guess you could say. I want to join some sort of something. I'm still thinking about that one. And then I have health and well-being under the personal pillar. I did color that green though. And I want to get movement in 3 days per week, preferably. So that could be yoga, that could be running, that could be working out, that could be something just, movement, just movement. And I feel like I should probably include walking at this point. I was really good at working out a few years ago, but after going to UNC Chapel Hill, I just kind of got out of the habit because I always had an assignment to finish. I was always looking in a book or on my laptop screen, so yeah, I need to get back in that habit. And then for academics, I do want to enter into a master's program. I already have an idea where I want to go and what I want to major in, and I am changing my major. I thought about doing like a major Q&A or a major overview, or I don't know, a video about my majors. So anyway, that's what I want to do for academic. I only have one goal under the academic pillar. I usually want to include at least 3 or more per theme, but I was good about trying to balance, for this coming year. So I don't want to overwhelm myself. Entering into a master's program is work enough. So, yes. And you can't really do much more than a master's program. It's not like I can go into a master's program and a PhD program, right? So I only have one goal under that theme. And then on the yearly planner, as you can see, they do have boxes where you can plan everything out in a year view. So I wrote every single thing that I wanted to get done in the first 3 months. Actually, I did the first 6 months, but I'm really focusing on the first 3 months. So I actually color coded each month based on not a theme that I wanted to do, but based on the color coding system that I have. So in January, that box is orange. The February box is blue, and March is orange. And then I have April as blue as of right now, and May as purple. So I'm trying to balance that a little bit more to inspire me to stay motivated and work on what I need to work on. So for January, I have that I want to do XYZ. I did try to put something fun in there, like work on my novel, or, write poems from the poem book, read 5 chapters of whatever book. So I do have some non-business goals that month. They're not just all business goals, but I did want to focus and prioritize that pillar for that month. So I think I'm doing that pretty well. And then I did put at the top what I wanted to focus on specifically, which is also coordinated with the color coding system. I feel like this is a little OCD, but anyway, I feel like it'll work out, I think. Okay, and then on the left side, I have a plan for opticals box. I think that was originally from the template. So I just wrote down a few things under work overload and burnout, lack of motivation and focus, and then financial setbacks. And then I included a resolution under each of the categories. So, for example, for work overload and burnout, working a lot of days per week, a lot of hours, feeling stressed can lead to procrastination, that sort of thing. And then my resolution was find new settings to complete work and journal, also if possible. So I may want to visit a library to work on my school instead of, coming back here from work and doing it here. Or work at a coffee shop, something different, new scenery. So yeah, lack of motivation or focus. I would say some obstacles to that would be fatigue, mental and physical. Financial setbacks. I created a list of a few things that might apply to that as far as obstacles. And then, like I said, I created a resolution for both for that. And then under the quarter system, I need to go to that quarter 1. Okay, so for the quarterly system, I already put in place the main 3, 4, 5 goals that I wanted to accomplish for the entire quarter. And then I actually just copied and pasted what I had in the yearly planner into the quarterly planner, and then I sub-tasked every task if that was needed. So for the poem book or novel, I just wrote as a subtask, write as inspiration comes. So that's not, whatever. Under the read 5 chapters of one personal growth book, I put which book I want to read. For, the career goal, I put one step that I need to take to achieve that career goal. I only put one step because, again, things change. So it's really hard to put 8 different steps, because if that step doesn't work, then I might have to go to a different one. It just gets kind of complicated, and I don't want to try to figure out every single step right now. And I did that for the first 3 months for the quarterly. And then after the quarterly session ends, I will see what my results are, log that, and then fill out the boxes on the right: achievements, challenges, and overall result for each month. Yeah. Okay, so then for the monthly template, I just basically have to-dos, and I have I guess I have like a monthly review basically. I did color code the monthly to-do list. And then I've got the questions, and the made it worse, outside my control, within my control, what I did not complete this month, biggest task I completed this month. And then the weekly is just kind of what I'm already doing on my iPad, so I'm probably not going to use that. I may or may not use the day because I am using my iPad for that. But if I wanted something different, that's there. If I wanted to have like a link or whatever. But yeah, that is basically what I'm doing for my yearly reset. And I do have something financial related that I planned. I might do a separate video for that one. But that is basically my yearly reset in a nutshell. Like I said, I did do a Canva vision board, but I may or may not show that. I don't know. I do want to keep some things private. But yeah, that's my yearly reset for 2026. I hope this inspires you in some way. If you are sticking with Notion or using xTiles, hopefully this gave you some ideas. Maybe you decided to transition to an iPad and wanted to use the apps on the iPad. Yeah, I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, maybe list something you found helpful about it or something you learned. I don't know.